Hey, it's Chris Allingham with the Virtual Weber Bullet. I'm out in the backyard today doing some cleanup on my Smoky Mountain Cooker. A little leftover cleanup from Thanksgiving. Just getting around to it. Was just going to take a break for a second and talk to you for a minute about smoking fish in your Weber Smokey Mountain Cooker. The question sometimes comes up whether or not you should be cooking fish in your Weber Smokey Mountain Cooker, and does it affect the flavor of other things that you cook in your Smoky Mountain Cooker. This question came up recently on the Virtual Weber Bulletin Board from a member named Kay Tolliver, and he wrote, "I've read conflicting reports, as is the case with many topics, regarding the need for a dedicated smoker for fish. I plan to smoke some salmon today on my one and only Weber Smokey Mountain Cooker. I really don't buy the concept that the smell of the fish will basically impact your meat flavors when you smoke meats later on. What say you? What is your experience versus your opinion?" And then we have several pages of discussion among bulletin board members. And their basic opinion as backyard barbecuers is that if they cook fish once or twice a year, they don't notice any impact of that on the flavor of other meats that they cook in their Smoky Mountain Cooker during other times of the year. So where does this notion come from? Well, more often than not, it comes from my good friend Harry Sue of Slap Your Daddy Barbecue. I'm representing today wearing his t-shirt. If you don't know who Harry Sue is, he's a prolific barbecue competitor and barbecue teacher. He's also been on several one of these television barbecue competition shows. He most famously won the first season of Barbecue Pitmasters, where he went up against some of the biggest names in barbecue and their gigantic pits, and he used his Weber Smokey Mountain Cooker to win the whole thing. So Harry knows an awful lot about barbecue, and he knows an awful lot about the Weber Smokey Mountain Cooker, and he knows a lot about competition barbecue and what works and what doesn't. We had the honor of him joining us in March of 2010 to do a Q&A session on the Virtual Weber Bulletin Board, and I want to just read to you something he said, and I will put the link to this in the description of the video. You can check it out, and if you decide to register as a member, you can actually download a summarized version of this conversation with Harry as a PDF, which is really helpful. So I'll put that down in the description. But Harry was talking about seasoning your smoker, and he said whatever you do, never cook hot dogs or fish in the same Weber Smokey Mountain that you use for cooking ribs, chicken, pork, or brisket. Get a separate Weber kettle for hot dogs, hamburgers, fish, lamb, etc. And then this is the most important thing he says, and the part that most people miss when they have read this or heard this from Harry. He says, "Remember, my frame of mind is winning contests. Aunt Martha probably wouldn't notice much. A certified barbecue judge, on the other hand, would." And then he closes by saying, remember my other advice for competition, fish, hot dogs, lamb, hamburgers. If you don't use your Weber Smokey Mountain for competition, you can ignore my advice. So this is where I think some confusion happens. There are backyard barbecue folks who stumble upon this information in one way or another, maybe in other forums, in other settings, maybe Facebook, and they have mentioned this part about don't cook fish because it messes up the smell of other foods, but they don't mention the fact that this is really intended as a competition barbecue tip, not as a backyard barbecue tip. So my take on this, to close, is to say that if you are a backyard user of the Weber Smokey Mountain Cooker and you only cook fish once or twice a year, like salmon or trout, go ahead, not a problem. I mean, it's mentioned in the Weber Owner's Manual, instructions for cooking fish. Now, if you were to cook lots and lots of fish, I can't speak to that because that's not what most people do. You might find that you'd have an issue if you did that. But for the average person cooking in the backyard, if you're cooking fish just once or twice a year, go ahead and do it and enjoy it, and I don't think you'll have any problem. And I will say from personal experience that I am very sensitive when it comes to the odor of fish. I've done it a few times in my smoker, and I've cooked other things immediately right after it, never had a problem. So I recommend that you go ahead and cook fish if you enjoy doing it, and don't worry about any residual smell that may carry over to the meats you cook later. Well, that's it for now. I want to thank you for watching my video. I appreciate you very much. I hope that you will like and subscribe to my videos. It helps other people find them. If you have any suggestions for videos, please drop me an email at the address you see on the screen. And until next time, take care everybody. Bye-bye.